Looks like we're good to go.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Thank everyone for coming out this morning. Our first item was roll call this morning. Melissa Cardwell.
Present.
Kevin Phelps.
Here.
Judge Coleman.
Here.
Judge McCarty.
He will not be present today.
Okay. And Colton Gibbons.
Here.
All right, so we have a quorum. So we'll move on. Our next item of business, approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes from 8/17/2022. If there's no additions or corrections to the minutes, I'd entertain a motion to accept them as presented.
So moved.
As presented.
Motion's made by Kevin, second by Colton. Is there any discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, let it know by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is architect update. Survey submittal review.
Jeff was here just a second ago.
Okay.
The same one I had.
Yeah.
Think we done
Mm.
162.
Trey was telling me yesterday.
Jeff, we're ready. Can you go over those surveys?
Yeah.
What you
have to
got
give me a
back?
moment. We moved offices and things aren't working too well. I can barely hear anybody, so I'm going to try to connect with my phone so
Okay.
that you sound like you're whispering to me. So give me just a moment here. So you'll see me on here twice.
It's mitten right now, Jeff.
I should be able to hear you now. All right. So, I gotta turn the speaker off. Sorry. All right. Are you hearing me okay now without any feedback? Okay. I presume you asked me to go over the proposals. I think that's what I heard.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah, I have them up. So, they were both responsive to what we asked for. I'd sent you all an email back on September 2nd about this. And you can see there were a couple things that were a little bit different about the two of them. The actual survey information itself, not a whole lot different, except for one thing on Henderson's part. We had requested a third-party utility locator service. He did not provide that. he's using Bud, which is not the same thing, but all we can say is it's probably okay, but the reason we always ask for a third party is they're a little more thorough as far as locating items than Bud is. So, we have no way of guaranteeing what's underground, obviously. So that's the only negative to that as far as the actual information. And then the other one is he did not include, he specifically excluded professional liability insurance. We always ask for that on behalf of the owner so that you're not responsible for anything that happens, related to their efforts on site. Didn't explain why he didn't include it. So, so those are the two kind of negative things on his on his side. The other one, QK4, basically had everything, but said that, they were 6 to 8 weeks out. So that's the downside for them. So that's where we are. I mean, it's kind of up to how far we want to go with, either waiting and paying more or getting it sooner and, excluding those two items that were mentioned.
So Jeff, on the professional liability insurance, what's he excluding? I mean, he should have it if he's a licensed surveyor.
He just said he'd excluded it. I don't know. I mean, that's, that was just, he didn't really explain it.
Okay.
It's just at the bottom of his, first I didn't even see it. But our engineer noticed that it was missing and brought that to my attention. Looking for exactly what he said here. So. Somewhere down toward the bottom. Yeah, it just says professional liability insurance is excluded. All it said.
Okay. Well,
So
I don't know if there's an assumption that since it's, that you all are the project architects that, that would be covered under your alls, but we can't move forward with a surveyor that doesn't have professional liability listed or.
Yeah, well, we would definitely exclude that.
Yeah.
While we would do that, we never take responsibility for that ourselves. So if that is, I'm I kind of assume that might be a problem.
Yes.
so
I think the only other one, the other one, I mean, we could get back with it and see what their current workload is and see if they can, tighten that up. But they simply declared their workload in their proposal as 6 to 8 weeks out.
We're gonna make a quick call to him and find out why he left that off.
Okay.
yeah, and then Jeff, on the private locate, I've used them in past. I'm trying to think of how that would work with new construction versus I've used it to try to find stuff existing that wasn't, it's basically since it was on a campus, it became the owner's infrastructure, and that's when we had used them. What else do you think we would try to be picking up on there?
Don't know. Well, we don't have any way of knowing. It's just that's kind of our standard approach, just to try to cover all the bases. That's all.
Okay.
You don't know what you don't know till you find it. That's all.
Yeah.
And there may be absolutely nothing that Bud doesn't find, but.
Yeah. So usually that was my experience. That's only been like $300 or $400 for them to have somebody to do that. Or does that
Yeah,
sound right?
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to have someone do that. In other words, even if he were to add that back into his cost, it's not going to be a crazy amount of money.
Yeah. So
But
Kevin,
he didn't explain why he did not include that.
okay. So I just if Kevin, did you say you were going to talk to him? Who said, I didn't catch who said that?
He
I
may
think
be
he's
trying to call
calling
him
him.
right now.
Okay. Basically, the private locate service would try to find things in addition to what Bud's required to locate.
Yeah, I think
It's
generally
another layer of coverage, realistically.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. I mean, Bud covers most things, but if something has been located that's sort of off the grid,
Mhm.
there's a better chance the private locator might find it, because Bud generally doesn't find those sort of items. But whatever. It's we're not raising a huge red flag. I'm just telling you that's our normal course of events is to require that. It's
money well spent.
Yeah, I think so. That's while we're kind of waiting on that. Has there been any other discussion about the closing or transferring the street and therefore working out easements with the city?
Say it again, Jeff. I didn't catch that.
Well, okay. I sent an email back end of August, and the point here was that the state was saying we're going to give that street to the city.
Yeah.
I had understood the city didn't want it, but the state said we're giving it to you anyhow. Basically, this is the way the state getting out of the fray here.
Right.
But I just haven't heard, since that's something that happens behind the scenes, whether or not there's been any discussion between the state and the city as far as what happens with this street. Because if the city has it or will be having it in their possession, there will really be no right-of-way requirement other than whatever the local government agrees to.
Right. We need to probably talk with somebody at the city about what they may or may not need.
I mean, normally for a small street like that, our engineers, what they say they normally see for kind of a back street like that is you just put it at the back of the sidewalk. There's almost nothing because
Okay.
it's very simple. That would, but what we often see is just back of the sidewalk. So that would obviously allow us to use more of our site for development. If we could do that.
So, Judge Fleener, did you catch all that? Jeff was just didn't know if possibly if you knew if anybody's talked to the city or seen been any discussion between the city and the state on giving the road to the city from the state.
There has been discussion on that, and from my understanding, I think the city is going to wind up taking the street over.
Okay.
And they said it wouldn't be any trouble with us as far as on the right of way down through there once they take it over. But now, here's the question: is how long is it going to take for the state to turn it over to the city? That I do not know.
Yeah.
Well, I think, obviously it's going to be a while before we need to really do anything with it. As long as we know that's happening and that an agreement will be made, even if there's some bureaucracy that goes with that, I doubt the timing will be a problem when it comes down to actually having to do anything. But I think it's more knowing what the intended agreement is.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, if that's the case, going ahead and, if you all can have a discussion with the city. You know, like I told Mark, normally we just see it back on the sidewalk being the right of way. You know, that makes it simple. If the city's okay with that, and we could at least have a tentative agreement that that's what we're doing, then with that leaves us knowing how much of the property we can develop. If it takes them a while to sign all the papers, you know, no big deal as far as we're concerned, because it's going to be a while before construction happens.
There's somebody with the city that Shermer Carter Barnhart could talk to about that.
The mayor?
The mayor.
Okay, well, I mean, we can do that. It's just, if you all are okay with us talking with them, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah, we could, I guess, Jeff, so just to make sure everybody's clear. So Jeff's worked on getting these surveys done, because Jeff doesn't have accurate enough information to make the side entry and get the right of way correct for the auto parts store.
Right.
So we need to get these surveys completed. So really Jeff can draw that out, and then we can make it actually how it needs to be. And so at the same time, we might be able to add in what we need the proposed right of way to be, Jeff, and have that be presented to the mayor, and then let them look at it and say, that's okay with us. And then at that point in time, we could finalize the survey once that's completed and the state gives the street to the city, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. If we go ahead and can get the survey done, we would use then that accurate survey to show our proposed right of way, just with a line, and then we'll get the city to hopefully agree to that.
And sometimes, Jeff, usually like if you make a change, some of that stuff may go through planning and zoning type deal, and they basically sign off on the plat. I don't know how this happens when we're transferring the ownership of the street.
Yeah, because that's more of a legal thing. It would seem like you probably want your county attorney. I mean, that's not something we're not usually involved in transferring ownership of streets,
right?
But probably the county attorney. I mean, I think we have the people that have been involved. Oh, that was a Joe Plank or Joe something. I think that was his name. Who's the local state rep for the
Joe Plank.
Yeah, I mean he's the guy on that end evidently, but so that entity or that agency needs to talk with the city, and that's probably more something that the county attorney needs to be in the middle of arranging, because it's really just a legal document at that point.
Jeff, if y'all see anything, let me ask you one more question. Do we know if there's any type of utility easement on those properties that we got to take into account? We haven't gotten as far to be able to see where anything like that existed, have we? Does it make sense? Like sometimes there's utility easement, 15 feet off or whatnot. I just don't know if that might be there or not.
We wouldn't know that without the survey, I guess.
Okay.
So
that's something else we'll have to take into account.
I guess proactively, though, to determine, what extent we get, what the right of way is going to do at that road. We probably just need clarification from the city once it's transferred over to them from the state of where exactly that right of way is going to be allowed. If that's the back of the curb or sidewalk, that way the surveyor can go ahead and indicate those on the survey. So I think that's probably just a discussion with the city in anticipation that, it will be transferred over to them.
right, yeah. I think the first, as far as that's concerned, there still has to just have that discussion between the state and the city about the actual transfer and how that works, you know, whatever the paperwork and the bureaucracy is to make it happen.
Yeah, I think at this point, the state has indicated, or at least that one individual has indicated that it's no problem. It's just
Oh, yeah.
how quickly that can be done. So,
Right. So,
Jeff, would it help you if we need to talk to Mr. Plunk about how that normally happens? Do you need to know that? I don't know if that
well,
help you or not.
we don't, like I said, we don't normally do those sort of things as far as
Right.
it's more of a real estate transaction without money, I guess is what I'm saying. And that's why I'm thinking, since there's legalities involved with that, that's why I think the county attorney ought to be involved with that to make sure that the agreement, I don't even know how the county looks. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Maybe beneficial for us to just try to get a meeting together with the mayor and the state representative from transportation. And Judge, yeah,
We can do that.
Cleaner, if you're available too, that'd be great. And maybe the
Okay.
county attorney, that way we can work out the details of the transfer. And then also start that discussion of, you know, what the city is gonna require as a right of way.
Okay.
I think it would be I think it would be helpful if we could get some parameters on what we want from the city. I think if you go in there and show them exactly what we're talking about, we're more likely to get an agreement than just to ask them what they want, because they probably don't know.
Yeah. Currently,
I think it'd be better to have something to say, this is what we feel like would work the best. And
I
I
agree.
think they'll be good to work with. So
currently, you know, I'm looking at the aerial right now of that, and there is no curbing that look like it still exists on either side of that road or sidewalks. So it's just, you know, the road itself, you know, abutting grass. So if we're wanting to define, you know, curbing and sidewalk, then I would suggest that we just, you know, try to get all the way up to the current road and handle it that way. I think that's correct, Judge Coleman. I think that's probably the best option there.
Yeah. Well, we do have that layout that
Yeah.
we sent you all that shows right now what the proposed development would be. It shows the road, shows the sidewalk. Now, obviously, it's not based on an actual survey. It's just based on the information we had at the time. So the line work might be in a slightly different place, but it does show the intent. I'm looking at it right now. I think it's clear enough to show them what we hope to accomplish.
Okay.
So then realistically, Jeff, we need to get like a working survey on this stuff and then have that kind of ready to show to the mayor. Would you think, Judge Fleener and Jeff, I guess?
Yeah.
Would that help?
That would be
Well,
helpful.
I think it would be, I mean, I agree. It's sort of a chicken and the egg thing. I really think we ought to just go ahead and get the survey done. And because the right of way is going to be a simple line offsetting it X number of feet from the center line of the road. It's, you know, it's not complicated once you know where the center of the road really is. So in other words, that might be something the surveyor would have to go back and pick up as a line once we have the survey done and we're able to adjust our layout to that. I don't think that's a big deal, you know, to have him do that later. But I think we have to start with an accurate survey.
And into that with the survey, I've spoken to Cody with Henderson Survey, and he says they do not carry the professional insurance, liability insurance. And the reason for that, he doesn't do a lot of work on this side. Most of his is property boundaries. And the professional liability insurance is just too high for no more than he does throughout the year. But he also said that maybe that if we went with him, that him being part of the project team, that he could fall under someone else's umbrella with project liability on that. Didn't know, just threw that out there. And also with the utility part, as he stated, he does use Bud, but he also, the utilities that don't participate in that, he does contact the other ones to have them come in and locate the lines too.
Okay, well, when you said somebody else in the project team, it probably means us, because there's nobody else on the project team right now.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's something that our insurance would allow us to do. We don't normally do that.
Okay.
To incorporate a third party like that. I mean, even our own consultants have, while they work for us, they have their own insurance. They don't rely on ours. So, particularly since we don't have a relationship other than this one project, I can't imagine our insurance.
He said he just carries general liability for his workers, and that's it.
So I think it's just up to what you all are, either that's a no deal or a deal situation, but I don't think we can help with that.
Part of the concern that I have with that, to all the board members, is that, that we will be paying them directly out of project funds. This won't be like a consultant, as Jeff has mentioned, that Sherman Carter Barnhart handles, contract and payment under them. Without that professional liability insurance, I think we're leaving ourselves at a lot of risk. If there is something that is missed on the survey, or boundaries that are not set right. So I would recommend that if he can't provide that we go in a different direction.
A lot of silence there.
I mean, I don't care to throw my 2 cents in. I like Cody. I like that he's local, and I like to go with him. But I think Danny's right. If he doesn't have the insurance that we need, we're where we are with QK4. That's the only other option we've got right now, and I think that's just kind of where we are.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Cody and I have been friends for a lot of years, but I think Danny's point is well taken.
Can we get I think we need to vote to use QK4 if that's what y'all want to do. That way Jeff can go ahead and get them on the schedule and try to get the survey completed, because really we need the survey information so we can get everything finalized to purchase the property.
Yeah, and what I would probably do, what they said is 6 to 8 weeks to completion, but depending on their efforts, normally, they kind of have several steps they go through. They've got the boundary survey, they have all the utilities and all that stuff. If I could ask them to get going on the boundary portion of it, they might be able to go ahead and get that done. I could ask if they could get that done sooner, and then continue working on all the utility information and all that other stuff, that they could then add to it. That would, a lot of times that's how they work anyway. I just have to ask them to see if that would help speed it up somewhat.
I guess I'll make a motion that we accept the QK4 bid for the survey work.
All right, I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motion by Colton, a second by Jeff Coleman to accept, I'm sorry, I don't know their name.
QK4, Judge Fleener.
UK4,
QK4 is who they are. Yeah.
is there any discussion on it? I would just like to say that I would like to have seen Cody's, because he is, like Cody stated, that he is. But if there's no way we can, then we have to go this route.
How long would it take him to get the insurance?
I don't think that he would want to do that. It's just about 50,000 a year for one thing. Yeah, that's what he told me. All right, is there any more discussion? Not, all in favor of this motion, please raise your hand. Judge Coleman, Colton, Melissa, Kevin. Okay. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So we'll be, so Mark, do you all contact the UK4? Is that how this work, or do we need to?
Jeff will take care of it.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll call them today and see what we can, and we'll give you a report back on what that means for the schedule and all. So I'll contact them a little late after the meeting.
Okay.
And then I guess on the other issue, I mean, the only person we've spoken to is Joe. So as far as who else tonight needs to be involved, the mayor or the county attorney, I mean, how do you want to handle the meeting, Shelley, or the proposed meeting?
With our county attorney, we'll need to get in contact with him and see what dates that he is available for a meeting, because he is in the process of retiring at the end of this term, and so we may need to include our new county attorney that's going to take office in January also.
Well, then why don't I do this so that he can kind of be in control of it? I think it sounds like most everyone else might be a little more available than, he might be the most difficult one to arrange. So we'll just go ahead and I'll send you an email with the people that we know from our end that would need to be involved, our engineer, Joe, and so on, and send that to you. And then let your county attorney kind of drive the bus on the timing, and offer some dates that he's available. And I would say, it'd be best coming from him if he's harder to get hold of. So we'll go ahead and send an email with those individuals. And that way he can, therefore, when he sets up the meeting, he'll have the emails of the people that need to be included.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Is there anything else to bring before on the survey or anything at this time? If not, then we'll move on to our next item of business, and it's the approved invoices. Disbursement request number 3 to the county for advertisements in the amount of $7,804.43. I have a motion by Kevin. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Motion by Kevin, second by Colton. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not hearing any. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business to bring before the board this morning?
Just Leonard, I just wanted to let you know, I've been working on an application fee check. So I just got that in the mail from the bank trustee, and Lineback Funkhauser is going to get the check for me and turn in the application for the brownfield application that we've been working on and whatnot. I just want to let everybody know that I got the check in the mail, I believe, yesterday. So I'll get that to them, and they'll get all the rest of the paperwork turned in so that we're covered in case we have run into any environmental issues that are unknown.
Okay.
So I just want to let you know that's in process. It's moving along. So I just want to let everybody know.
All right. Is there anything else? If not, we need to set our next meeting date. Let's see.
We're going with the third Wednesday again.
It looks like the 19th. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
19th of October at 8 a.m.
Fine by me.
Is that good for everyone?
Sounds good.
So our next meeting will be October the 19th at 8 a.m. If there's nothing else to bring before the board at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Colton,
Second.
second by Melissa. All in favor?
Uh,
Uh,
All right, motion carries. Everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thank
Ryan.
you.
Thanks, everybody.